Crews are making progress battling a 3,000-acre fire in the far north county.
Christmas saved for some local military families after a holiday tradition was canceled because of COVID.
And it's just this flood of emotion.
And the visit to a website that led a San Diego man to the birth mom he never knew.
ABC 10 News at 6 starts now.
Crews are now using a controlled burn to get a handle on a 3,000-acre fire north of Fallbrook. Good evening, I'm Derek Stahl.
And I'm Jennifer Dela Cruz. Kim and Steve are off tonight. The fire broke out late last night, prompting mandatory evacuations and road closures. Here's a closer look at that area. It's northwest of Fallbrook and has burned onto Camp Pendleton. At last report, it was 0% contained, but no structures have been burned so far. ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer Kastner begins our team coverage with a look at the firefight.
Due to the fire, county officials issued a smoke advisory Thursday, impacting parts of North County around Fallbrook and Camp Pendleton.
Division Alpha, I want to try to release North County Engine 1.
Widespread evacuations and power outages from the Creek Fire, affecting thousands of San Diegans on Christmas Eve. Sky 10 overhead in the afternoon, getting images of the latest on the ground. Thousands of acres burned overnight through parts of North County, prompting those in Fallbrook and on Camp Pendleton to leave their homes. Thursday afternoon, the San Diego Sheriff's Department released video of its aerial attack, reporting its chopper made nearly 40 drops since after dawn. As of about 10 a.m. Thursday, fire officials said there was 0% containment, after previously stating it was 35% contained. Hundreds of firefighters have been battling the flames since they broke out just after 11 p.m. Wednesday near Duluth Road. Rough conditions proving challenging to fight. Ryan Rushing, Division Chief with Camp Pendleton Fire, said just after midnight, some families and service members on base had to get out.
The fire has forced the evacuations as a precaution of the Luz housing, O'Neill Heights housing, as well as the Lake O'Neill campgrounds.
7,000 people on the west side of Fallbrook were placed under mandatory evacuations in the early morning hours. Power was shut off overnight for 2,500 SDG&E customers, affecting parts of Alpine, Campo, Descanso, El Cajon, Potrero, and the Sequan Reservation. Another 31,000 customers were put on standby. A red flag warning was in effect until noon Thursday after it was issued Wednesday morning. The USO San Diego has been on site all day supporting the military families that were forced to flee their homes on base on Christmas Eve day. Jennifer Kastner, ABC 10 News.
And on that front, thousands of families in that area were told to grab their belongings and get out of their homes in the middle of the night. ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala is in Fallbrook, where all the evacuation orders have now been lifted.
While some military families have not been able to return home, evacuations south of Duluth Road were lifted this evening. A total of 7,000 residents were told to evacuate their homes overnight. Here on Shady Lane, deputies went door to door telling people to get out of their homes as that fire was creeping closely. On Christmas Eve, thousands of people in Fallbrook and Camp Pendleton were told to flee their homes in the middle of the night as the Creek Fire quickly spread.
The Red Cross set up a temporary evacuation point at 2 a.m. this morning at Fallbrook High School.
Because of COVID-19, the Red Cross provided hotel rooms for those impacted instead of having crowds gathering inside of the school.
We've had over 120 individuals that are in the evacuation zone seek out some hotel rooms.
It's amazing how life changed in 1 minute.
During an already difficult year, people like Bob, who lives in Fallbrook, spent the night quickly grabbing what they could and waiting to see if they'd have a home to come back to. Bob says it is something he's used to now.
Oh, you tell you the truth, you see so many fires around here, California. It's kind of part of our life.
Sheriff's deputies went door to door warning people to leave their homes on Patton Oaks Road, Shady Lane, Darla Lane, and part of Main Avenue. At Camp Pendleton, evacuations were ordered at Duluth Housing, O'Neill Heights Housing, and Lake O'Neill Campground.
While the Duluth housing area, neither one of the housing areas is threatened right now, out of an abundance of caution. In other words, we don't know what the winds are going to do. We don't want to put folks in wind shifts, and then we've got really bad problems.
USO San Diego jumped in to provide impacted military families at Camp Pendleton with food, water, and supplies on base. By 2 p.m. Thursday, they'd already helped about 1,400 people. As crews got a handle on the fire, many evacuation orders were downgraded to warnings, and rain moving through the area provided some much-needed relief. Mimi Alcala, ABC 10 News.
So the good news is that conditions are only going to be improving. Those wind speeds are starting to die down, and our winds are also changing direction. We had that storm pushing in, giving us those windy conditions out of the west and a couple sprinkles throughout the county, so that did aid in the firefight. Right now it's 61 degrees in the Fallbrook area. Gusts are now just 15 miles per hour, so that has been improving over the past couple of hours. And as we continue through the night, humidity is going to go up as well. So wind gusts right now we're seeing 19 I should say in Julian, 31 in Alpine, but still coming out of the northeast, so still these dry Santa Ana winds. But at the west coast, coastal areas, we're starting to see improvements with our wind speeds there. They will be changing. Here's that system that was pushing in through the afternoon. You may have noticed some sprinkles out there. Nothing that's been too heavy, but certainly it did help. Very different than what we see in a typical Santa Ana weather pattern. Overall, we'll be mostly dry through the night, but we have another storm on the way. I'm breaking that down coming up in your 7-day forecast.
All right, Jen. Turning now to the coronavirus, the county reported another 2,200 cases today, bringing our total to nearly 137,000. There were also 32 new deaths. That brings that total to 1,382. The fate of the $900 billion COVID relief bill passed by Congress remains in jeopardy. Today, Republicans in the House rejected President Trump's last-minute demand to increase the checks for most Americans from $600 to $2,000. If the president does not sign the existing bill, the government could shut down at midnight on Monday. The House will return on Monday morning to vote on options.
Despite pleas from health agencies to stay home for the holidays, millions of Americans are flying somewhere this Christmas. This is video taken just a couple hours ago with Sky 10 over Lindbergh Field, where a sprinkling of people could be seen coming and going. Jan and David Miller flew here from Ohio, but they say they're taking serious precautions.
Our one son said he thought maybe it'd be safest to quarantine some and spend time apart from them in a separate location. So we're doing that with an Airbnb at a separate location for the first period of time.
The TSA says around 1 million people have gone through their checkpoints every day since December 18th. And students will not be returning to classes in the San Dieguito Union High School District after winter break. After all, the superintendent tells ABC 10 News they've made a deal with the teachers union to stick with distance learning at least until January 26th. The union had sued the district over its plan to partially reopen after the break. The board will have a special meeting to vote on the next agreement next week.
Overwhelmed. It was overwhelming.
A pretty remarkable sight in Valley Center, a motorcycle procession to a cemetery 1 week after the cancellation of a holiday tradition. ABC 10 News reporter Michael Chen looks at how a community came together to save Christmas for some military families.
The Christmas tale that wound its way to Valley Center Cemetery began a week ago. Because of COVID-related issues, the nonprofit that places more than 300 Christmas wreaths at military grave markers here announced it wouldn't be able to this year.
My heart dropped.
Local florist Janelle Brenneman decided to post on Facebook a call for donations to make wreath sprays, a smaller version of wreaths. A day later,
Shows that we have the Christmas spirit, still.
her driveway was filled with cedar, pine, and ribbons. More than 50 volunteers signed up to help assemble. Kids sent messages to attach to the sprays, and on Wednesday, the project was complete.
It's a great way for the town to come together and find a way as a community. There's love in this world still.
Among those who stepped up,
Got the waterworks going.
members of the Green Knights Military Motorcycle Club, who saw our story on the wreath campaign and volunteered their services. On this day, they escorted the volunteers to the cemetery.
We felt we had to help them because it was the right thing to do. We have to honor our veterans that have gone before us.
Overwhelmed. It was overwhelming. We had our entire neighborhood come out and cheer them on. They had posters, and it was just the best Christmas present anyone could ever receive.
At the cemetery, Brenneman and 7 others quietly placing the wreath sprays at 311 grave markers.
The cemetery just looks like how it should be now.
Michael Chen, ABC 10 News.
Great teamwork there for a great cause, and based on responses to her Facebook posts, Brenneman expects a steady stream of people will visit the cemetery this Christmas holiday.
Traffic may be light this Christmas, but the Highway Patrol will still be out in full force, making sure people don't speed or drink and drive. A maximum enforcement period started at 6 and runs until 11:59 Sunday night. Officers will also be on the lookout for distracted drivers.
Or you that have kids, you have the radio going, You have the big thing is the phone. A lot of people, you see them with iPads watching YouTube videos.
Got to be careful out there. All available officers will be on the road during the maximum enforcement period.
Expect the full array of holiday closures tomorrow in the city of San Diego because of the holiday. Trash will not be picked up. Parking meters will not be enforced. Libraries will be closed and there will be no book pickup service. However, if you're a golfer, the Torrey Pines, Mission Bay, and Balboa Park golf courses will all be open tomorrow until 3 p.m. so you can get that Christmas round in. All city skate parks will also be open.